This bird story isn't a continuation from the last one back in October of this year. Instead, it's a story from last summer 2017 about Buster, a nuthatch I knew for a couple of years. The only bird I've ever known that moved out of his old territory but kept coming back, seemingly to visit and get some goodies from his human friend. Before I get to it, I should tell you a little bit about Buster first. I met Buster in late summer 2015 through a female I met months prior named Missy. Missy had lost her mate while she nested that June, so after about a month she managed to attract a new male to her territory, Buster. Missy and Buster did well in raising some babies together. It took him a while to warm up to me, like weeks and weeks. I'm not really sure why I named him Buster, but I guess he just seemed like a Buster to me. He was quite easy to tell apart from another male I know well, Hatch, simply because the black strip through each of Buster's eyes was very deep black compared with Hatch's, and it seemed to be longer. Even the shape of their black and white stripes are different. Buster's orange color was more vibrant too, and Hatch isn't a dull male by any means. Another thing stood out to me too, his eyes. They seemed so deep, wise, and soulful, whereas Hatch's eyes seemed to have an almost happy and alert look to them. There was no mistaking Buster for Hatch, two very different looking nuthatches, at least to my trained eyes. But I think this side-by-side comparison will help you guys to see the same things I do. By spring 2016, Buster grew to trust me much more. Him and Missy did well once again with raising another brood. But by September, Missy disappeared. I later found what looked like nuthatch feathers on a stump in her territory. I think a bird of prey got her. So sad, but that's nature. Now Buster was alone. Of course I worried for him. Lucky for Buster, his human friend was crazy enough to visit him even on bad winter days. During that winter, Hatch's mate Patch would come into Buster's territory, which he seemed okay with. I honestly thought that maybe Patch would leave Hatch for Buster, but she didn't, thankfully. Hatch would come into Buster's territory too, and Buster did not like that. Like all my little feathered friends that I get to know well, I really started to like Buster and was hopeful that he'd bring another female into the territory once spring arrived. But I also feared he'd leave the territory in search of a new female and never return. Here is what I experienced with Buster in the coming weeks. It's well into the breeding season, and Buster is still on his territory, but despite him making his calls all the time, he hasn't been successful in attracting a female to his territory. It's pretty late into nesting, but there's still lots of time. It's been a couple days since I saw Buster. Seems like he's not around much these days. I think he is working hard to find a new female. The last time I saw Buster was 6 days ago. I actually thought I'd never see him again, but while walking home he just appeared seemingly out of nowhere. I waited for a female to show up with him, but he seemed to be alone and unable to stay for long. After only a few minutes, he disappeared. I think he has a new territory nearby. I wondered if I'd see him again. It's been almost 2 weeks since I last saw Buster, and just like the time before, he appeared seemingly from nowhere. Once again, it was a brief visit. Now I'm starting to think he really has moved somewhere else and that he has found a new female. This time I kept a close eye on him so I could see what direction he went. I tried following but couldn't find him. So the next day I went out in that area of the woods again to look around for him. Despite thoroughly searching and calling to him, no nuthatch came by. Either he's not where I thought he was, or he's ignoring me, but I doubt that very much. The truth is, I really don't know where he has moved to. Buster didn't make me wait as long as the last times for him to visit me. Unlike the other 2 occasions, he stuck around for much longer this visit. Even had a bath. It actually felt like he was back for good. What he has going on remained a mystery. Where could his other territory be? Does he have a new female, and is she nesting right now? Why does he keep coming back to his old territory? No answers for my questions, but at least I was getting to see my little buddy. For the next few days, I continued to see him every day I went out, and then, just like that, he disappeared again. I was suspicious that his absence this time was because he had hatchlings. After 2 weeks of not seeing Buster, the longest he's been absent from this territory, he returned again and stuck around for quite a while, a lot longer than the other times. I even heard him calling. I actually thought that his new mate must be around and that I'd probably see her and their little ones, but I didn't. I could almost swear that wherever they were, it wasn't far away, because Buster was very clearly using the contact call pairs use to keep in touch while foraging. He spent a lot of time hiding food away into the trees, too, almost as if he was anticipating coming back to this old territory. For the next 3 or 4 days, I saw him every day, and then he disappeared again. It has been a couple months since I saw Buster. I keep thinking he will suddenly appear one day as if he hadn't even been gone in the first place, but I don't know if that will happen this time. Interestingly, a juvenile arrived. I saw it with some siblings and a female parent a couple times, but no male parent. Nuthatch pairs will divide up the offspring and bring them around the territory, as well as at the edge of their territory. I wondered a lot if that female I saw was Buster's new female, and if the babies I saw were his. One of the fledglings stayed on the territory and was eventually joined by a young female. By February, they started coming around me on their own. It was because of the chickadees that they came around. Eventually, they started to trust me and take food from my hand. I named them Kiwi and Lentil. The male Kiwi I truly think is Buster's offspring. His eyes kind of remind me of Buster's. If Kiwi is indeed Buster's, then he acquired his father's old territory. I think that is so cool if that is the case. I never did see Buster again, but I do think of him often. I wonder if he's alive out there somewhere and if he remembers me. Despite all of this time that he hasn't been around, I can't seem to stop expecting that I'll see those deep, beautiful eyes staring back at me again one day, picking up right where we left off, as if he never even left in the first place. I've had many birds just disappear, even pairs, like female and male mated pairs, but they've never ever come back. I think Buster didn't want to leave his territory or his human friend. After all, it's no doubt I'm very helpful to those birds. It must have been hard for him to give that up, but I guess he had to go. Or something could have happened to him too. That's always a possibility. Whatever the case is, I'm happy that I had the little bit of time I did with him, and maybe my new little buddy Kiwi really is Buster's, and if that's the case, well, I guess a part of Buster is still here. I like looking at it in that way. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be sharing more older stories like this, so stay tuned. And just one more thing before you go. A lot of people say they watch my videos to relax, unwind, and even get into a zen-like state of mind. For those of you like that, I want to let you know about a good friend of mine, Yoga with Trishy. Trish is new to YouTube, just starting out. She offers free full-length yoga classes that differ from yin yoga to hatha yoga styles. It's all about helping people relax and have a good time enjoying yoga. I watch her content and this girl knows her stuff. She's been doing yoga for years. Trish has a lovely soothing voice and a beautiful soul too. So for you guys looking for some relaxing and fun yoga, follow the link below in the description as well as in the comments, and if you do, make sure to send her a nice warm welcome. Thanks so much guys. Happy birding.